What's up, Trek Nation, and welcome back to Trek by Numbers on After the Snap. It's me, Tasha Pierce, and today we are going to discuss our final Season 4, Episode 13 entry. This one is from Discovery, and it is called Coming Home. In it, the DMA approaches Earth and Navarre. With evacuations underway, Burnham and the team aboard the USS Discovery must find a way to communicate and connect with a species far different from their own before time runs out. If you'd like to know my thoughts on Star Trek Discovery's Season 4, Episode 13 season finale called Coming Home, then let's go. We inevitably were going to get to an episode of Star Trek Discovery, but I really hadn't planned on how I was going to recap these episodes, because due to its serialized nature, it's kind of hard to recap the episodes without having to add a lot of context from prior installments. I'm going to do my best here to hit the gist of this installment of Star Trek Discovery. So, we got some key details about this episode. Coming Home, the 13th episode of Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, was written by Michelle Paradise, directed by Olatunde Osunsami. The original air date was March 17th, 2022. The star date is unknown. Some other details to think about is Michelle Paradise is a co-creator and executive producer of Discovery. She started in Season 3, and she co-wrote the story for this episode with Alex Kurtzman. Now, Olatunde Osunsami is a producer and frequent director on Discovery. He's directed over 20 episodes across Seasons 1 through 4. Other writers for Star Trek Discovery Season 4 included Addie Caulfield Saunders, Chris Silvestri, Anthony Marinville, and Brandon Schultz. Now, the other directors that were notable were Jonathan Frakes, Maya Vervillo, and David Barrett. And I know I'm murdering some names, so forgive me. Coming Home was the 5th episode directed by Osunsami in Season 4, and they helped bring Discovery's 4th season to an epic and emotional conclusion. The episode focuses on the DMA, which is the dark matter anomaly. It was approaching Earth and Navarre, and evacuations are underway as the crews of Discovery and the Federation headquarters try to find a way to communicate with Species 10C and get them to stop the DMA. Book and Tarka enacted their plan to destroy the DMA power source against the wishes of the Discovery crew. Now, General Ndoye aligned with them in an effort to save Earth, so she turned on the Discovery crew and joined forces with Book and Tarka. In Coming Home, Booker finally realizes he's Dr. Ruan Tarka's useful idiot when Tarka goes against their agreed-upon plan and takes hostage Book and his ship. So if you don't recall, here's some details about Ruan Tarka from this season of Discovery. He was a Ricin scientist who worked for the Federation in the 32nd century. He was also portrayed by actor Sean Doyle. Now, Tarka was a genius, but he also exhibited antisocial behaviors from a very young age, including cruelty to animals, namely at least one Ricin feline that he atomized and then wondered why folks complained about the mess. Now, he was enslaved by the Emerald Chain as a scientist, but he escaped and befriended a scientist named Oros. Tarka then became obsessed with using the DMA's power to travel to an alternate reality where his home world wasn't destroyed. So he secretly built a banned isolated weapon and manipulated Book to help him destroy the DMA against all of Starfleet's orders. When Book finally hesitated, Tarka took him and Reno hostage, willing to risk billions of lives for his agenda. Now, in the finale, Tarka betrayed Book, but was stopped from destroying the DMA before seemingly perishing when his ship collided with the hyperfield. He may have made it. We didn't see a body. Y'all know how it is in sci-fi. Anywho, his ruthless pursuit of his goals at any cost established Tarka as a complex antagonist and dangerous threat over the course of Discovery's 4th season. So like we said, Tarka persuaded Booker that they needed to destroy the DMA's power source to save the planets in its path, and Booker reluctantly agreed. So they escaped Discovery together, and Booker provided tactical support, trusting Tarka's word. But on the ship, Tarka revealed he has locked navigation, won't turn back, and he is intent on using the DMA for his own goals. He wants to get back to Oros. Booker argued that they agreed to only fire as a last resort, but Tarka then said, you know what, I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I was when you aligned with me. So he imprisoned Booker, making it clear that he had been using him this whole time. So he disabled communication. He's not releasing Booker or Reno, and he's revealing his true intent to get home at any cost. Booker then starts to express a little regret for having trusted Tarka, and he tries to stop him, but fails. So Tarka's betrayal of their plan and willingness to risk billions of lives finally opened Book's eyes to the fact that he was the useful idiot. In the meantime, the Discovery crew is able to make first contact with the 10C and persuaded them to move the DMA away from Earth and Navarre. The 10C also resurrected Book after his ship exploded. Now, the episode ends with Earth rejoining the Federation, the DMA being shut down, and the crew's looking forward to shore leave and chilling and all of that after their efforts. We saw Book face some consequences. I don't particularly know what these consequences will be. They should have been a lot more harsh, given that he had conspired against the Federation, but it looks like he's going to get off with a little bit of a slap on the wrist, probably because he did come in handy towards the end, and of course his relationship with Michael Burnham. Now, some fans criticize the heavy focus on these action sequences and visual effects over dialogue and character development. I think it was a nice balance between the two. There was also some debate over whether the resolution with Species 10C felt rushed or fitting, and although I thought the resolution was satisfying, I also felt it might have been rushed a bit. Some felt Book's resurrection by the 10C undercut the emotion of his apparent death scene, but many fans realized that Book's empathy bombs would be what saved the day, and his apparent death turned things on its head for just a few minutes. Tilly's decision to stay on the doomed Federation headquarters to ensure evacuation was seen by some as an unrealistic choice. I thought it showed her unselfish desire to save lives and her commitment to the mission of Starfleet. There was also some criticism over the lack of real stakes or consequence, with pretty much everyone knowing Earth would be saved from destruction. So what were the stakes really? And then, of course, there were some Trek fans who hated on the episode simply because it exists. I can't comment on them much because they don't have a real opinion on this episode. They hate the series, and that's okay. Now, among folks who watched the episode, there was a surprise casting that ruffled a few feathers. The appearance of Stacey Abrams as the president of United Earth and Coming Home received some mixed reactions. Now, as far as positive reception went, many fans praised the casting choice and Abrams' performance, finding her a compelling presence in the role. Then some appreciated the nod to diversity by casting a prominent Black female politician and also an avid Trek fan as president. Fans noted it highlighted Star Trek's legacy of inclusive casting, and Abrams, being a real-world political figure, added a little bit of believability to her casting. Now, those people who were not in favor of Stacey Abrams showing up felt that her appearance was too much of a distracting cameo that took them out of the story. And there's lots of criticism that the role was essentially a cameo that didn't develop the character much. Would we ever see Abrams again as the president of United Earth? Probably not. So a few fans objected to what they saw as a stunt casting of a divisive political figure. At this point in U.S. history, Abrams was in the midst of a political campaign for governor of Georgia, an election she would go on to lose. However, when Coming Home aired, the inclusion of the candidate appeared to be an endorsement, which in essence it was. Others didn't feel Abrams was the right fit for a Star Trek president role. I personally disagree with that stance because, as I previously mentioned, she is a Trek fan. Do I think it would have been better received if she was cast as an alien species, somebody not so recognizable? Yep. But then she wouldn't have been the president of the xenophobic United Earth, now would she? So many praised her casting, found the appearance worked. Her role was small, but seen as a nod to diversity and a fun bit of casting. Others were upset that Trek was dipping its toes into current politics, and I belong to the former group, but I can see the point of the latter. Now, on my regular scale, I give Coming Home a B, It was a satisfying yet predictable conclusion to a decent season, and it was definitely resolved better than the B word of season 3. So now I have to ask, what did you think of Star Trek Discovery season 4, episode 13, Coming Home? Did you guys think that it was a satisfying resolution to the conflict with the 10C? And how did you feel about that Stacey Abrams as the United Earth president? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're there, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're not yet done so. And turn your notifications on so you won't miss Engage Live, which is our weekly live stream that we do on Sundays usually. We do it on Sundays. We talk all things Trek. We'll be soon getting into Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, so join me for that on Sundays. For our next round of Trek by Numbers, we have selected Season 5, Episode 8s. We are going back to Season 5s, and we are now in Episode 8s. That means our first installment will be TNG, Season 5, Episode 8. And wouldn't you know it, it's the second part of a 2-part episode. This one is Unification 2. In it, Captain Picard has discovered that Mr. Spock has traveled to Romulus in an attempt to reunite the Romulans and the Vulcans. Following him, Picard and Data suspect that the venerable Vulcan has walked into a trap. So join me next time as we talk about Unification 2 and move into our next set of episodes. I cannot wait. Now, there are many ways that you can make sure that I keep doing this. And one of those ways is by joining on YouTube, by clicking that join button right there, right there beneath this video. Yep. And you can also support me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Tasha Pierce. You can also leave me a super thanks in any amount. It will be appreciated. If you guys didn't know, for a living, I am the caregiver for my grandson, and I get a generous allowance of $40 a week to do that. So in order to keep me creating, your donations help quite a bit. So if you like these videos and you'd like to see me continue doing it, please do not hesitate to send me a little love like these fine folks. With all that, I've got nothing else. I will see you guys in the next one. It has been so much fun, and thanks for being here with me. Live long and prosper. Peace.